A lot of people don't realize this, but the formation of kidney stones is related to what we eat. I had major issues with kidney stones myself, even to a life-threatening degree, but I've not had any problems at all since adopting a whole food plant-based diet. About 20 years ago, I had my first full-blown attack of kidney stones. I'd had a bit of nagging flank pain driving to work that morning. A little while later, while trying to read radiology cases, I was absolutely incapacitated with pain. I was writhing in pain. A CT scan showed a stone in my ureter. Full-blown renal colic, when a stone gets caught in the ureter, which is the small tube between the kidney and the bladder, is said to be one of the most intense types of pain. I've spoken to women that have given birth, and they said that passing kidney stones was worse than giving birth. This actually makes sense. Passing a baby through a woman's vagina is a normal physiological process. Squeezing an irregularly shaped jagged rock through the tiny little tube between the kidney and bladder is most certainly not. My kidney stone was treated with a stent between the kidney and the bladder, and the stones in my kidney were broken up with sound waves, a procedure called lithotripsy, which literally means rock breaking. About 12% of people will experience the agony of passing a kidney stone in their lifetime. About half of them will have a recurrence within 5 to 10 years. Sure enough, a few years after my first stone, I had a recurrence, and this time it became life-threatening. Long story short, I ended up with stones in both ureters simultaneously, which is very uncommon. This stops both kidneys from filtering blood to form urine, putting me into acute renal failure. It became an emergency to unblock the kidneys. My serum creatinine went over 8, meaning that my potassium could have shot up, causing my heart to stop. I got lucky, and that didn't happen because I was treated right away. I was in and out of the hospital over a period of 2 months to resolve a variety of issues and complications. Needless to say, I was in no hurry to experience that again. Why did this fate befall me? For a while, I thought that I must have had some sort of genetic mutation because no one else in my family had ever had a kidney stone. Eventually, I educated myself and I learned that it was my diet. And guess what? I was big and buff. I was the picture of health, or seemingly so. But I also had sky-high cholesterol and was pre-diabetic. All of this was solved with a plant-based diet. It grates on me when I see these knuckleheads on YouTube advising people to eat more meat. The fact that they may be big and buff is beside the point. Looks may be deceiving and they may be very unhealthy. Like me, they may feel just fine until they don't. Here is a key fact. Kidney stone formers have an increased risk of heart attack by 31%. Why? Probably because the same thing that causes heart disease causes kidney stones. Bad diet, rich in animal products. If you've had kidney stone issues, you need to take this seriously. It is quite well established that the consumption of animal foods increases the risk of kidney stones. There are a few different reasons. Firstly, animal food is acidic, particularly because of the high levels of sulfur-containing amino acids like methionine. Acidity favors the crystallization of stones in the kidneys. Most plant foods are alkaline. A few plant foods are somewhat acidic, but nothing like meat. Also, plant foods are higher in water content. This helps to flush potential kidney stone-forming material through the kidneys and diluting the urine so stones don't crystallize. The citrate in plants helps prevent the formation of stones. The presence of high levels of purines in animal foods can precipitate uric acid stones, although dairy may have a protective effect, but it requires something like 10 cups of skim milk per day to make a difference. Meanwhile, you're displacing calories from consuming fruits, veggies, whole grains, legumes, etc., while increasing your risk for prostate cancer and gynecological cancers. The fiber from plants in the gut can bind up uric acid, lessening risk. Here is a bit of a mind bender. The makeup of bacteria in the gut can affect the risk of the most common form of kidney stones, which are those comprised of calcium oxalate. Those are the kind that I had. Uric acid stones are the second most common. By eating a healthy plant-based diet, gut bacteria can metabolize oxalate so that less gets into the circulation, decreasing the chance that it will precipitate in the kidneys. I was eating so much meat, I'm sure that my gut bacteria was a mess. The number one predictor of a healthy gut microbiome is consuming a variety of plant foods. According to Dr. Will Bulsiewicz, We should strive to get 30 or more different plant foods weekly, sometimes eating an entire Costco broiler chicken at a time, thinking I needed all of that protein. Plant food was the least of my concern. No wonder my kidneys were plugged up with stones. My arteries were at risk from sky-high cholesterol, and I was pre-diabetic. I cured all of that when I went entirely plant-based. One time I was looking at a foot x-ray of a youngish female coworker. The history on the requisition was simply toe pain. To my surprise, the x-ray exhibited an erosion of the first toe joint, technically the first metatarsal phalangeal joint. The erosion had a telltale feature called an overhanging edge. That is a feature of long-standing aggressive gout, something I would much more commonly expect to see in an old man. Not only can uric acid precipitate in the kidneys, it can precipitate in the joints, causing serious pain. That is what gout is. I asked her what was going on, and she told me that she was having excruciating toe pain, especially at night, to the point that she couldn't even tolerate the weight of the bedsheet on her toe. That's a classic gout symptom. I asked her about her diet. Gout is caused by excess purines. The same foods that predispose to uric acid kidney stones predispose to gout. Meat is a rich source of purines. She was a meat eater, and she had been on a shrimp kick, making shrimp stir fries almost every night for dinner. Shrimp is extremely high in purines, hence she developed gout like an old man. What we eat really does matter. The connection between diet and kidney stones is strong and immediate. Indeed, the more animal products that you eat, the greater your risk, which is a correlation, but a causal connection has also been established. Add just 1 can of tuna to your diet daily, and the excretion of calcium oxalate and uric acid goes up 250% in just 2 days. In my bodybuilding days, 1 can of tuna was just a snack. I would maybe have 3 or 4 cans in a day. Eliminate animal products and the crystallization of uric acid decreases by 90% in just 5 days. Another factor predisposing to kidney stones is salt. Guess what the number one source of salt is in the diets of 20 to 50-year-olds? Chicken. Salt is injected into the chicken carcasses because that causes them to hold water. That can increase the weight of the meat by 20%. Since chicken is sold by the pound, that increases profits. Remember, the food industry doesn't care about your health, nor does the health industry care about your food for that matter. To that point, when I had those horrible issues with kidney stones, no one told me that diet was my problem. It is up to you to educate yourself and take charge of your health. You can start by liking and subscribing. We really appreciate it. Chicken has an undeserved reputation as a health food. It is high in saturated fat, it's loaded with bacteria, it's associated with an increased risk of cancer of the pancreas and also lymphoma. And is the type of meat most associated with weight gain. Other than that, it's healthy. Yeah, right. Getting back to kidney stones. If you've ever had them, take it seriously. They didn't happen out of the blue. They are almost always caused by what we are eating. The good news is that with a bit of remedial action, you can markedly reduce your risk. And don't forget, do us a big favor and like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.